Awesome. So inside of your Moodle page, if you take a look at the Capstone, see here, if you take a look at your Capstone projects folder, inside of part 1, you can go ahead and download that document. Once you have that downloaded, you can open it up. And essentially what we'll be doing for your Capstone project is making a wish map. So a wish map is essentially places that you haven't been before that you would really like to go to. And it's a really cool way to kind of explore and challenge your Photoshop skills and make a really nice project that you can present. It's really cool. The areas in the previous presentations have been awesome. And you get to see a lot of areas that you might not have thought of before as well. So it's very interesting. Now, of course, this can be a country, as you can see here in the description. The country of Japan, and it could also be locations like the Grand Canyon or like national parks or certain beaches. It could be literally whatever you'd like it to be. The only requirement is that it's just a place you wish you could go to. During quarantine, it might be even bigger, so it's good to see areas that it will be fun to visit. So for your capstone presentation, or excuse me, your project, you're going to be working towards this final goal. As you can see here, this looks very in depth and he created it himself. But we're not going to be requiring you to do this for the first part. What you'll be doing for the first part of your presentation is I want everyone to make sure that you have 6 places that you would like to visit. So as you can see here, the 6 places he picked are right here, Grand Canyon and Hawaii and all those. And what you're going to do is you're going to try a decent picture of each place you would like to visit. You're free to use stock image websites. If it has a little watermark on them, it's fine. But make sure that your images aren't like terrible quality or anything. Do some decent searching for them as well. And as you can see here, he gives us a few links that we can go to. So if I go to Pixabay, let me see here. You can hit yes. Okay, never mind. Sorry. let me copy this one. And then let me open up Pixabay here. And there's a bunch of images here about stuff as well. I'm from Ireland, so maybe I'll type in Ireland here and let's see what comes up. Yeah, so the Trinity College Library is always really cool. So I could always get this guy, and if I want to go there, I can hit this free download. And as you can see here, there's a few options. You might not need to go this intense with it. But 1920 by 1280 is a decent quality, and 6000 is going to be very high quality. But these websites are really nice for you to look at stuff as well. So kind of spend some time figuring out what you would like to visit and areas that you think are cool. These websites have a lot of high quality images, but you're free to use normal images as well. So don't worry, or excuse me, Google Images as well. So don't worry about using a specific website, as long as you can find a decent quality photo of a place that you would like to visit. See here. And remember, it's going to be 6 places. So make sure that you have all 6 images that are decent quality as well. Now, for part 1 of your project, this is where it might get a little bit tougher, but what we're going to be doing for your part 1 is you're going to be doing a before and after of each of these images. You're going to be editing each of these 6 images that you downloaded and making some edits to them to make them look a bit better. So if you see here, he had an image of Singapore that he downloaded from the internet, and then after he made some filter and edits and increase the saturation and the colors, you could see it's a bit more green. There's more blue in the background, and this looks a bit brighter and more vibrant. Now I want to iterate this for this portion here for your project. You want to make sure that you keep the original images that you have and that you don't delete them, because you're going to be submitting 6 of the original images and then 6 of your edited images. So very quickly, why don't I try to do an example of this project here? The Giants Causeway is always a fun place, so I'm going to go ahead and let's see a cool image that I would like to visit. These already might be edited, so sometimes you don't want to get a pre-edited image because I'm going to be checking to make sure that you edited it. But maybe this one right here. this one looks pretty okay. I'm going to hit download here. Robot. And then when this image is downloaded, you can do this any way you want, but I just want to make sure that you guys maintain that you have your 6 original images, and then you will have 6 edited images. Let me call this, part 1. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag my Ireland photo into there. Now inside of Photopea, I'm going to go ahead and open up this image that I downloaded. And as you can see here, it's a bit smaller than what I expected, but that's fine too. I just zoomed in a bit there. And it looks okay. The quality is pretty good. I can tell the quality is good because if you zoom a bit further in, it doesn't get too pixelated. Of course, if you zoom super far in, it gets very pixelated. But from right here, it looks pretty good. So what do you need to do to these images to make them acceptable for the wish map? All you will need to do is just edit each picture that you selected. So it's really up to you on how you would like to edit them. So again, you don't want it to just kind of use the brush tool to put stuff on, but kind of make some cool edits that you'd like. As we go through these a bit more, we can do some more complex editing, but I just want to show everyone the way that we can use this right now. So for instance, with the tools that we used right now, maybe I want to make a few edits to this image. Why don't I try to clone using the clone tool? Maybe I could clone one of these rocks. So I'm going to select the clone tool. I'm going to hold Alt. I'm going to select this rock here. And then using my selection, I'm just going to go ahead and add a few more rocks there. Maybe I can add some stuff over here. That looks a bit odd, so I'm going to undo it really quickly using edit and undo. Put that one back. And then maybe I'm going to hold Alt again. And I kind of like how this one looks down here, so I'm going to hit that one. And then very quickly just expand it a bit more. Oh, that looks a little odd. Maybe I can make my brush size a bit smaller. There we go. Just small edits. Now, as you can see here, the rock in the middle is a bit different now. And so what I'll also do is maybe I'll go to Filter. And then using the tool that I used earlier, I can go to Sharpen and Smart Sharpen. And then when I have my Smart Sharpen, I can change the amount I want to sharpen it by. As you can see here, it got a bit more dull. Let me go to my radius, and maybe I'll increase the radius that I'm doing the sharpen by quite a bit. I'll increase this a bit more. And as you can see here, the more I sharpen it, the more different colors it gets. But if I can make it, maybe I'll try a 20% sharpen on it. That looks a bit different here, but it's just small edits that we're doing. And of course, I can go into my image and adjustments up here. And if you recall from our first session, I talked about using the black and white image adjustment. There's a ton of different ones you can use. So maybe I can go to vibrance. And then I want to increase how vibrant these greens are here. Let's see here. Now, if I increase this vibrance to 100, everyone see how the kind of sides are a bit more green and it just looks a bit different. I increase the saturation. That definitely changes the color around as well. And I can hit OK here. Awesome. So now I've kind of completely manipulated this photo. I even copied in a rock so it looks a bit different in the middle. It looks a bit odd with these images, but for the for the sake of this example, I'm going to go ahead and file. And now, before I do that, very quickly, just one more suggestion here, is that if you look down here, there's a big warning here that says do not flatten the PSD documents. And essentially what that means is you don't want to, if you're adding in various layers into your image, you don't want to flatten it so that the layers are gone. So essentially what you would want to do after you're done with this image is you can go to File, Save as PSD, and then with this file saved as a PSD, I'm going to go ahead and drag this into my original folder that I kept my items in. So now, of course, this is up to everyone on how they want to do this, but pretty easily I could say stuff like this, like Ireland Original, and then Ireland New, stuff like that. And then that's going to be my PSD. And as you can see here, at the very bottom, they want us to submit all the initial images alongside the edited images as JPEG and PSD files together. So your original images should be JPEGs or PNGs, whichever one you go for, but your new images will be, PNGs. Your new images should be saved as PSDs, as those are the Photoshop files. Very quickly, as long as you keep the PSD on file, I also don't mind if you go to File, Export as a PNG, and then I can, if you see here, well, it doesn't matter if I scroll on or not, I can increase the quality, and then I can just hit save here. If I drag this back into here, I can rename this as Ireland New. And now, when I'll be grading it, I can see that, okay, in my wish map, I want to visit Ireland. Here is my original image of Ireland that I would like to go to. And then here is the new image that I have here. So as you can see here, I didn't do anything crazy with my edits. I just changed the few settings around and I added in some rocks in the middle. Excuse me. But that's just a quick example of what you'll be doing for this Capstone Part 1 project. So again, for your Part 1 of your Capstone, you will be doing this 6 times in total. You'll be finding an original image and then using the various techniques that we're learning to edit it. Because there's more techniques down the road that we'll be learning, you don't need to rush at this or anything. But as you can see, I already did quite a bit with just using simple layers and the cloning technique that we talked about earlier in this session. So make sure you take a look at it. Don't leave it to last minute because sometimes it might be a bit messy or it might look a bit rough. So just make sure you give yourself enough time to work on it.